It is too warm here. But assalamu alaikum. Ladies, I think that the title of the video probably caught your attention already. But these are my unfiltered thoughts on how to steal your man's heart. If you are new here, my name is Hana. I am a PA who practices medicine. I am also a trauma coach who works with Muslim women to help them heal from trauma and take back their lives. So if that's something you're interested in, then you can go to the link in the descriptions and see what I have to offer in terms of my trauma group coaching program and also working one-on-one with me. Most of us never learned this. Most of us never had anyone sit us down and give us this advice. And so I am going to do it, and it's going to be unfiltered and unedited. It's going to be a long video, but I promise there are going to be a lot of gems. So sit through the entire thing and inshallah interact in the comments. I have some notes right over here, so I will jump into it. Ladies, your marriage is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It truly is. It is something that not everyone is going to experience. I'm sure you are already aware of this, but marriage is a risk. It is a type of a risk. And so when it is brought to you, let's do everything we can to honor it, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always make us from those who honor our marriages and never from those who damage it or who fall for the whispers of the shaitan. So what are certain things that we can do to steal our man's heart? And let me preface this by saying that this video is for a very specific type of woman. If you're a woman who is easily triggered, you love to point fingers, everything's your husband's fault, this video isn't for you. You have to click off and come back another day, inshallah. If you're in a marriage that is very unhealthy, where there is true damage and there's true oppression and things of that sort, while these tips can still benefit you, that is something you want to touch base with an expert with. A marriage therapist, a marriage coach who might be able to help you, an imam in your local area. Right, we're dealing with the rules, not the exceptions. So please be discerning, inshallah, when you're watching this video as to what applies to you. Starting off strong. How do you steal your man's heart? Ladies, it starts with your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I promise you the rest of the tips are going to get really juicy, but your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here's the thing, marriage is a spiritual contract. It is not just something we are not irreligious non-Muslims who are just getting paper signed in front of a courthouse or in the government acknowledges our marriage. This is a spiritual contract. We take it in front of people. We have witnesses. We promise in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are going to honor one another. And because it is a spiritual contract, we need to make sure that we are spiritually full to be able to contribute to it. The thing about it is that even in the best of marriages, there's a lot of sacrifice that has to happen. That's the thing. You're in a partnership. You're in your team. You're tag teaming life together now. So it's no longer just about you. It is about this other person. And so that comes with compromise and sacrifice. And that's just a natural point of it. You have to have a certain level of maturity to be able to enter into a marriage healthily. But because of that, it can be very easy to feel drowned in it. Like you are getting drained almost by this relationship. And one piece of advice that was given to me before I got married, I'm trying to remember if it was before or during, but early on, either right before I got married or early on in my marriage, was remember at the foremost that everything you do for your husband, whether he's the sweetest, a day where he's so sweet and loving and caring, or it's been a little rough, you do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That way, your actions remain steady, your reward remains steady, and you are able to appreciate when your husband is just so appreciative of you. And you're able to you build a level of spiritual resilience when maybe he's not in the best mood or he's not being the best husband. Because guess what? Sometimes we're not always the best versions of ourselves. We take accountability for it and we work on it, but that's just the point of the matter. So make sure that you are filling your spiritual cup. Make sure you are also extracting from your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the barakah in it, right? So that you can pour and appreciate that barakah in your marriage. Make sure you are praying your salah, even if your husband is not as religious as you. Some of you guys ended up in situations, if you knew or you went into it, which I would caution people to avoid that, or maybe you didn't know and it showed up that your husband is not as religious as you. Make dua for him and make sure you're staying on your deen, because you are going to inshallah inspire him to it's a magnet. Our spirit, our love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a magnet. right? In addition, a good Muslim man, a good family Muslim man, it steals his heart to know that the woman he married loves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that she takes care of her relationship with him for two reasons. One, that's a man who's going to look at you and be like, this is a woman I'm inshallah going to walk into Jannah with, right? And then you have a mission. And when you are married and you have a mission as strong as getting into Jannah, I'm telling you, nothing's going to break you, inshallah. Inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Make sure you're doing your ma'awadat and, protecting yourself and being intentional. But you are in a very strong, you're at a really strong rank. And then the other thing is, and this is something that is extremely important to a huge number of very good, righteous Muslim men, family men. They look at you and they're like, this is a woman I can trust to raise my children. This is the kind of woman I want to have kids with. And that is irreplaceable. In this day and age where it is so hard to find a good, righteous woman, when he sees that he has that, oh my God, it changes everything, subhanAllah. That's number one. Number two is where we get we're going to ruffle some feathers with this, but it shouldn't ruffle feathers because we just got to be real with ourselves, ladies. Okay? This is not, let's just be honest, right? Ladies, take care of your physical appearance. Take care of your body. Take care of the way you look. The thing about it is it's a very, very simple equation. You married your husband. He's married to you. You are the only woman he is allowed to look at. You're the only woman he's allowed to be intimate with. You're the only woman he's allowed to touch in that way. Especially nowadays where modesty is not the norm and he's constantly being exposed to that. And any normal man will have a reaction to that. If your man doesn't have a reaction to that, there's something wrong there. Either he's batting for the other side or he was exposed to it so much before he got married that he's desensitized, and that's not normal. But the point is, he's constantly being exposed to that. That is hard on a righteous man. That is hard. It doesn't matter if he's lowering his gaze. It is hard. I'm straight. And I can, like, I'm walking and I'm like, oh my God, mashallah, that woman's legs. Or, wow, look at how nice her back is. And I'm a woman. Now imagine that for our husbands, especially husbands who have maintained their chastity, as the Quran asks them to, before marriage. It's rough. And so do not take away the only opportunity he has to enjoy that as a man. It is so important for them, right? And it is such, I mean, in both Islamic and secular understanding, that part of the relationship is one of the most important, and it is actually a really good indication of how the relationship is going. So take care of your physical appearance. So what can that look like? If you are, I guess technically regardless if you're married or not, if you are not married, try to do everything you can right now that's going to make it easier in the future. Whether, it might look like if you have some skin issues that make you insecure, you see a dermatologist or an esthetician, you get on a good skincare routine. If you are not exactly sure what to do with your hair, or maybe you're not exactly sure, like, day to day how to do it, you usually just throw it in a bun, go see people who know how to do it or watch videos. If you don't know how to do makeup, then start watching tutorials. Learn how to do a very simple 5-minute makeup look. Your clothes are a very easy, low-hanging fruit for your appearance, right? With your husband, it's not hijab. So if you are married, then ask your husband what he likes to see. What kind of, is he a dress guy? Is he a leggings guy? Is he want less than that? Ask him what he exactly wants to see. Ask him what kind of makeup look he likes, and practice that. Some guys are like, I love very natural looking makeup. Some guys are like, I love like really intense looks. Ask your husband what it is he prefers. And even if you don't really like it, sometimes it's like, yeah, but I don't really like it. Entertain it sometimes. I get it. It's important that you're comfortable too, but entertain it sometimes. It might be a color that you're not the biggest fan of, but just who cares? It's for a day, or, it's not going to be a big deal, inshallah. It's only you two anyways. So take care of your body. Get healthy, ladies. Work out. Working out is not just about your physical appearance, though it can be profoundly impactful for your physical appearance. There's actually something called body recomposition, where you work out and eat in a very strategic way to put on shape, which is really cool if there are ladies who are like, who are insecure about being super thin, and want that. But working out also it's a health thing. It gives you more energy. It's better for your mental health. So you kind of kill two birds with one stone with that. So that's enough that I'll say about that. Take care of your body. Attractiveness is so important. There's a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ spoke to a Sahabi who had mentioned that he recently got engaged. And he asked the Sahabi, did you see her? And he said, no, I haven't. He said, go look at her, right? Attractiveness is so important. So take that seriously. For ladies who have been married, right? Oh, Hana, it's too much work. Or, a girl, you're being dramatic, this and that. Listen, you're the only woman. If your husband is not making it a big deal, that should be a red flag. You are the only woman he can look at. Don't tell me that there's any man who's going to, be completely okay with his wife looking like a slob every single day for months on end, and he's not going to complain about it. Just be intentional, make the space. And wallahi, it doesn't take too much time. Easily 5 minutes. 5 minutes to throw your hair up in a nice bun. 5 minutes to put on, a bit of blush and mascara and, lip gloss. 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes to put on a cuter outfit. So many easy things that you can wear. So prep yourself mentally before you get married and make the intention to do this often. Inshallah, indeed actions are by intention. Make the intention. And ladies, if you are married and you found yourself slacking with this and you didn't realize how harsh and detrimental this would be, then renew the intention. I remember hearing a scholar speak about a divorce that he was initiating. And yeah, it got to that point. And when the couple was speaking, the husband looked over, and because the wife's confused, like, what's going on? He goes, I watch her prep for an hour, doing her makeup and picking the perfect outfit to go out with her friends. And he starts crying. And I never saw her do that with me. And you would think that, would it really be that big of a deal? Let me repeat for the third time over. You are the only woman he gets to experience that with. And to see, it really is heart-wrenching. I think about it, even if, like, I imagine my husband dressed to the nines when he was leaving, but didn't, take care of his appearance on me, it would make me really upset. So now imagine for those who are much more visual. Moving on, ladies, another controversial one. It shouldn't be controversial, but it might ruffle on some more feathers. Take care of your misery. Some of you ladies are walking around with a black cloud over your head and you're raining on your husbands. Some of you are walking around your home with wounds and you're bleeding on everyone. If you're married, or if you have children. Fix that. You have to. Here's the thing that is ironic, right? Oftentimes, I will run into, because I do trauma work, right? Women with childhood trauma. And you can see that they know that someone else's misery can have such a profound impact on the way you see yourself, your mental health, your self-esteem, and they saw what it was like when someone's misery bled onto them, and yet you repeat that same pattern. It's not fair. And so what do you have to do? You have to heal. Come closer. You have to heal. You have to do the healing work. This can look like so many different things. And listen, Hana, I can't. Okay. Are you willing to accept the possibility that your marriage might end? Because here's the thing. Our family members are stuck with us. We're blood relatives. They ain't got no option, right? Your friends will stick around because they don't have to see you all the time. They can deal with you in doses. Your husband has to be with you And it's a contract. And the thing about a contract is it has agreements on both sides. It has stipulations on both sides, and it can be ended. So we should never feel secure in that. We should always be thinking about what can I do, inshallah, to raise the value of this contract and to honor this contract. Because this isn't a contract just between you and the government or you and him. It's a contract between you guys and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well, right? You might need to get a therapist. You might need to read a book on mindset, or you might need to get a coach. If you're a lady who has trauma and wants to work with me, links in the description. You might need to gather with groups who are positive and joyful and are going to make you feel good about your marriage, who are going to give you good, healthy advice. Not people who are, miserable alongside you and are going to tell you to light a match and watch everything go up in flames. Build your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Learn more from the deen aspect about marriage. Do what you need to do to address the wounds that you have, so you are no longer allowing it to blind you to what is happening in your marriage. Men want peace. There is nothing more miserable than, coming into your home and you're constantly arguing and fighting, and it's just absolutely miserable. And if you're one of the women who, whether it's an attachment issue or an abandonment wound or whatever it is, if you're the one who's starting it, right? And sometimes what ends up happening is you have a husband who shuts down. Sometimes what happens is you have a man who returns fire. He gets toxic towards you. Either way, it's a nasty situation, and it's not the mawadda and the rahmah, the love and mercy, or the sakina, the tranquility that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intended for a marriage. So my love, heal please, for the sake of your marriage, for the sake of your well-being. Why would you want to go like this for another several decades? It's possible. I literally have a channel dedicated to it. There are other ladies. I'd be careful. Please be careful who you follow. If they are saying things that don't sound like they align with Islam, they probably don't. So just be mindful. I came across recently a trauma coach who guaranteed 8 weeks she will heal your trauma, like trauma healed permanently. Don't go to her. Whoever that sister is, if you come across a website where it says heal trauma permanently, don't go to her. That's unethical. That's dishonest. But the point is, you can do work, and it might take a while. But inshallah, with the strength and support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will get there. Ladies, what's next? Steal your man's heart by asking him what he needs. It's so simple. It's so simple, but we overlook it. Ask him what he needs. Don't turn the candles on and make a nice dinner and this and that and expect that that's going to fix your marriage. Ask him what he needs. It might be that he tells you actions that you can take. It might be that he talks more about emotions, right? Or I would like you to, manage your anger, or your overthinking, whatever it might be, right? Ask him, and be prepared to have some thick skin. If your husband is an honest man, he might say things that you aren't ready to hear. Don't turn it into a fight. Just look inward and say, okay, my husband's feeling that I'm struggling with this, and this is what he needs. What can I do to improve that? And if your husband's not saying anything, then start thinking, did I do something that damaged our communication, where he's too scared to bring it up because a fight might happen, or I'll get really upset, or give him the cold shoulder, whatever it might be. Next, don't say everything that's on your mind. Listen, I know I grew up like in a community where we said everything that came to mind. I feel like I grew up in a time where everyone just said whatever came to their mind. It might actually be worse now when I think about it. Don't say everything that comes to your mind. It's not worth it, ladies. It's okay if something silly happened. Just let it go. I'll give you a story. My husband and I were driving, and he was the one driving, and I was looking at the GPS, and he wasn't paying attention, and it added 5 minutes on. Immediately I wanted to be like, oh my God, 5 minutes are added, make sure you pay attention, or don't miss the next turn. And then I just stopped myself. And I have 2 rules. This was something I really wanted to work on before marriage because I knew it wasn't, I just knew it wouldn't be a recipe for a healthy marriage. No one likes someone who nags, even if they're not being mean about it. No one likes constantly being reminded. You know, when you're about to do something and then someone tells you to do it and you're like you're about to vacuum and then your mom's like, go get up and vacuum. You're like, oh my God, I was about to do it. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. I don't know why then we do it as adults to our husbands. But I asked two questions. One, is this thing detrimental that if I don't address it, it is going to cause serious harm? That's number one. And number two, is this thing, if I do address it, it's going to bring more benefit, like substantial benefit to my life or my marriage? And if those answers check out, it is not harmful and it's not going to really bring substantial benefit, then I just shut my mouth, right? 5 minutes added, who cares? Who cares? We didn't have anywhere to be. It's not like we had a deadline for when to get back. It gave me 5 more minutes to spend with my husband. And we don't always get a lot of time, right? But he's busy with work and studies, and it just can be very time consuming. 5 minutes added might have been Allah protecting us from something, right? There might have been an accident coming up or something would have happened to the car. Allahu alam, right? Who cares? 5 minutes is not a big deal. And guess what? I don't need to tell him to look at the GPS because he's going to look at it himself. Eventually, he knows that we're on our way somewhere. And inshallah, he'll get us there. So I don't need to, like a child, point and be like, make sure you do this, right? He married his wife. He didn't marry his mom. Now, that doesn't mean I'll slightly nudge. Like if we were, for example, pressed for time or there's something we had to get to, I might make mention of it. But just be discerning. Be wise about it, ladies. Wisdom is a very, very powerful tool. Not everything has to be said. So ask yourself those two questions and practice it. If you're not married yet, practice it. It's very, very powerful. You learn how to just, let things go, and it's really powerful. With that being said, the next one is let things go. The not saying everything that's on your mind is more so for like not super conflict oriented things. Like sometimes you just, something comes to mind, to not gonna be a benefit or can turn into a fight, you drop it. But letting things go means that sometimes there are things that are very frustrating, annoying, or difficult to navigate, and it might not be the best time, or it might not be fully necessary at that time to address. Example: socks on the ground. Your husband comes home, he throws his socks on the ground, right? That might completely drive you crazy. But sometimes the issue that we think we're mad about, the socks on the ground in this case, is not the actual issue. Sometimes there's something deeper going on. Usually there's something deeper going on. So it's not that the socks are on the ground that's bothering you, right? It might be the fact that you just cleaned the whole house and you feel like that wasn't respectful to the time or effort you put in. Maybe you don't feel seen in that way. That's valid. That's hard. That's hard to not feel respected in that way. And so when we are constantly bringing up the conflict without knowing the underlying reasoning, then the fight becomes about socks, and it becomes this constant thing, and it's not about mutual respect and love and honor, because that's important in marriage. So sometimes you have to let things go. You have to see, okay, is the sock thing happening every single day? Or maybe is he doing it, he only does it when he's really tired from work. Is it worth the fight? No. And so be discerning and wise about that too. Pick your battles. That's not to say that you should, I'm not a woman who's going to tell you, like, don't say anything. That's very old school, right? You're in a relationship with one another. You want the best for it. And sometimes that means that conversations have to happen so that both people can feel like they can put their best foot forward, or things that are really difficult to handle can be compromised on. Because you don't want one person thriving and the other one miserable. That's not the kind of marriages we want. We want marriages where both of us as Muslims are showing up in the best possible way, inshallah, and doing the best we can with the abilities that we have to love one another, truly love one another, right? Emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, all of it. So that's really important. Next, ladies, be grateful to your husbands. If I said that and you felt triggered, I have news for you, sissy. You gotta go heal. If I said be grateful to your husband, and automatically the thought was, why should I be, or be grateful to who? or well, he should be grateful to me, or do I not contribute to the marriage too? My love, hit the pause button. You got some work to do. You are married to this man. You guys are in a spiritual companionship. You are in a spiritual contract in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Mawadda and rahmah, love and mercy. Sakina, peace. You are not in a competition. You don't marry your competitor. So it's not about what you do for him over what he does for you. This is not a this for that. This is not a point system. This is not a let me check off, I did this and so he has to do that. This is we are filling, this marriage is our home, and we're filling it with joy and positivity and peace and love, and we're just stacking it on top of each other so that if something comes right between us and causes damage to that, we have a lot of resilience there, right? If you come to it with this, why should I be grateful? You're not at a level of I'm going to say you're not at a level of maturity for a healthy marriage. Period. The Prophet ﷺ said, he who does not think people does not think of Allah. This is people. This is huge. Just human beings around you. What about the person you married? What about literally the one who has relinquished some rights to be with you? What about the one who takes on tremendous responsibility, if they are a good, righteous Muslim man, to be with you, right? To be in nafaqa, right? That the provider role is not something small. Listen, ladies, I know a lot of us work, right? And so we have this idea that if we work and he works while I'm doing the same thing, you have an option, right? Granted, okay, we're in some economic circumstances, allow me to say this, two-person income is really the only way to live. But by and large, you are not at sin if you step out of that role, whereas he is if he's not able to provide for the family. That is a heavy responsibility we do not grant our husbands enough credit for. It is exhausting to be working full-time, to be supporting a family. I remember when I graduated from school before I was married, and I had some expenses to cover, and it just hit me like, subhanallah, wow, my dad was doing this all this time without a complaint. It gave me so much gratitude for him that I've overlooked. And our husbands are good. I hope everyone here who's married is married to a man who provides. May Allah bless you if you are not married to that kind of man. But the point is, it's a lot. So be grateful. Say thank you. And say thank you for what is apparent and what is not apparent. Thank you for working so hard for us. Thank you for putting food on the table. Thank you for, if he does something for you that he doesn't have to do. If he gets you a gift, don't automatically, why would you get that? Or we don't need that. Or my God, that was expensive. Why would you pay for that? Thank you. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for wanting to put a smile on my face. Thank you for going out of your way to spend your hard-earned money on this thing for me. Be grateful. Man, gratitude, wallahi, what gratitude will do for your relationship is insane. Small and big. I try to make it such a point to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I want that relationship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves gratitude, especially when we're grateful to him. He loves when spouses are grateful to one another. And the last thing I will say, ladies, that is going to absolutely rock your man's world is say, I'm proud of you. There was something that one of my medical assistants had said to me. And I remember he said, and I was like, oh, subhanAllah, I never thought of it like that. He said, Hana, sometimes you might not, how did he say it? For many men, the only time they will get flowers is at their funeral. And I just stopped and I was like, that's so sad to think about, but it's true. We're not a culture that's very appreciative of men's accomplishments. And it is not common that a man hears, I am proud of you. And so to be that woman who says that, you're truly his rock when you can do that. To allow him to... The thing that we don't understand is good, righteous Muslim men. Wallahi, if you knew the extent to which they push themselves to give everything that they can to their family, their a better house, more financial security, better health, more protection. It blows your mind. Sometimes when I hear the way like my husband talks about these things, or the way he'll say his friends talk about it, I'm like, wow, this huge vision and this huge burden weighing on their shoulders that they're carrying, because the biggest motivation for a righteous man is to know that his family is taken care of. It is something that is it's as women, we care deeply about our family being taken care of, but it's very different in a different way. And so when they hear from us as their wives, especially whether or not you have kids, that we're proud of them, it's almost like I'm doing it, like I'm doing this right. Like it's them checking off boxes. Because imagine them doing all of that and you not being proud of them. It would crush them. It would absolutely crush them. And we truly have the ability to shatter our husbands' hearts, or to fill them and uplift them. And when we do that, when we pour into our marriage, it comes right back to us. It truly is. It's like an overflowing stream, right? We get to experience a positivity of that, because a good man, a good righteous man, you're noticing I'm saying good a lot, because we're talking about the rule and not the exception, right? There might be men who are extremely ungrateful, who are using their women, who don't work, who don't do that. But it's even if we try to make it seem, it's not the majority, alhamdulillah. So be appreciative of that, and just share that you're proud, and just like allow those moments to reflect in your marriage, inshallah. Is there anything that I want to add? I'll put right back one that I'm sure you guys were expecting, but I'll take it when it comes to the take care of your body and take care of your physical appearance. There's one thing that is halal between a husband and a wife only. Women take that seriously. Even if you might not feel it is as important to you, because it is not a strong feeling or urge to you, it is so important for men. And it is something that the Prophet ﷺ emphasized the importance of. So take it seriously. Don't let your mood or how stressed you are be a reason to neglect that. If you find yourself getting to that point, consider it an SOS, or an alarm bell, an alarm signal, and start thinking, what do I need to do to lift myself up in my mood, or limit my stress levels, or manage my stress better, so that I am not neglecting my husband in that department, because it just causes too many trouble. I'm not going to even go into it. It causes so much trouble. You're going to get into more fights. You're going to, depending on the strength of, and men are only human, you're going to find that other things might, other issues might come up as a result, right? Because it's hard. It's almost like, how do I say this? It's almost like if for us, one of our core needs wasn't being met, and we'd get super resentful, right? If you, I don't know, if relaxation is really important to you, and you are finding yourself not being able to prioritize that because you only have one car and your husband's always out and he always wants to go out, and he never considers what you might want to do in that evening, or, you have kids that are tearing up the house and no one's helping, you'll feel resentful and angry, and you'll withhold certain things, right? The same thing goes, but the opposite way, right? And that's not to say that this act is not important for women too. And in some marriages, it might be more important for the woman. But by and large, it is something that men are going to emphasize at the top, from the top three, right, of what's important to them. You're going to typically hear that a man says that that's the most important thing. So I won't talk too much about that, because that's not my area of, I prefer to maintain a certain level of modesty. And so there are other ladies who talk about it, inshallah. You can find some of those Muslimat. And I hope that this video was entertaining for you, was helpful for you. Comment below what you agreed with, what you need to work on. If there are brothers that are watching this, if you've made it to this point, then comment what it is, if you're in a healthy, marriage as a husband, what it is as a husband you really love and cherish that your wife does. So we can use this almost like a comment mastermind and start taking ideas and working on them all together. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.